everybody, and welcome to Nathan on Shuffle and to my latest episode of New Music Weekly, the show where I give you guys the top prog news headlines for the week, introduce you guys to some new prog singles, and give you updates on the channel and what's happening here on Nathan on Shuffle. It's been a couple weeks since I've done my last New Music Weekly. I'm doing it basically every other week. I believe there was 2 weeks off this time because I also had a vacation with my wife, celebrating our anniversary. But I'm back here. It's May 15th. A lot of albums have come out in the last couple weeks that I want to talk about. There's actually not a ton of big news items that I have here to share, so it will probably be a little bit of a shorter show, but there's a lot of stuff coming out, a lot of great albums. I'm going to be doing some reviews this week and some exciting new projects down the line for me on this channel. So let's get into it. So first, I like to start with the new releases that have come out since May 1st, since I haven't done a show since before then. May 1st, we saw the release of the Claypool Lennon Delirium, their album The Great Parrot Ox and the Golden Egg of Empathy. This is the collaboration between Les Claypool and Sean Ono Lennon. I've heard a couple singles. I still need to hear the full album, but I've really enjoyed what I've heard. There's kind of a bit of a psychedelia angle to them, classic, power pop and rock stuff going on. So really cool. Definitely one I plan to check out and will probably mention in my May roundup once I get around to it. Coming out on May 7th, Legacy Pilots had a double release, Camera Obscura Volume 1 and Volume 2, just classic prog rock, almost, some AOR kind of feel to it as well, with a whole host of interesting guests from the prog world, so that one's interesting. On May 8th, Carcius, the album Black Soul Sickness, prog metal, excellent. It's been one I've really been loving. It's a little bit on the heavier end, but not overly heavy. It's classic prog metal, but not too flashy, not too, full of instrumental fireworks and stuff, but just really well executed. A little bit of a grungy element to it, to my ears. One of the best albums I've heard in the past couple weeks. Will definitely be a big factor in my May roundup of albums. The Lemon Twigs came out with their new album Look for Your Mind, classic power pop in the Beatles, Beach Boys style. I'm going to be doing a short review of that this week, so check that out if you want a little more of my thoughts on it. I think it's brilliant, great throwback power pop and rock music. Terra Maze had a great album, The Silent Architect. This is just classic prog metal, sounds really pristine, well produced, great vocals, a little bit of a harder edge, but not overtly like over the top black metal style heavy, but just really in the pocket of what I like in my prog metal. That came out on May 8th. Crown Lands has a new album, Apocalypse, which came out today, May 15th. Classic throwback to like Rush and Led Zeppelin, a really cool retro album that I'm going to be talking about also in a short review this week. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with them. Advent Horizon have an album, Falling Together. I did a review of that this week, so you could check that out. I'll be talking about that later as well. Periphery, they have a new album, A Pale White Dot, for those who like the heavier end of the prog metal spectrum. I sampled it, probably a little bit too on the heavy end for me. A lot of, screaming kind of style vocals that I'm not a big fan of, but I know they're a big name in the prog metal scene, so I thought I'd mention it. Port Noir has a new album, The Dark We Keep, which is more in the alternative metal prog style vein, an Inside Out release that has a lot of promise here. Bruce Sword has a solo album, Ghost in the Park, who of course is the frontman of Pineapple Thief, and this is more of a stripped back, contemporary singer-songwriter style album that he's releasing today. So a lot of new records, a lot of interesting stuff, and I'm sure there's many more that I haven't covered or that I'll talk about more in the May roundup episode that I'll do, end of May, beginning of next month. So that'll be fun to catch up with all that stuff. But let me know in the comments if there's other new releases that you guys are excited about that I didn't cover in my little list here. But getting back to Advent Horizon, like I mentioned, I did a review of them. I think their new album is absolutely brilliant, in contention for one of my favorite records of the year. I think they've really stepped up their game. They have a new performance video out for their 19-minute opening epic, In a Lone and Dreary World. So check out that video. It's on my prog singles list. Excellent representation of what the band's all about. I think it's just a killer track, probably my favorite Advent Horizon track now, and I love their discography. So They're doing kind of a unique rollout of their album on streaming services. Just if so, you're aware if you're looking to check this out on like Spotify or Apple Music or one of the streamers. They're not releasing the full album today on streaming sites. They're kind of releasing a track a month, basically, before the whole album's available in a few months' time. But they already have 3 tracks available from the album, which is this big epic track that starts the record, Faith's Window, and Past Life Parable, which have been 2 previous singles. So a really solid chunk of the record. There's only a few more tracks left to uncover on streaming. But if you want the digital album, it's on Bandcamp, so you could listen to it and purchase it that way. Of course, there's physical versions on vinyl and CD. So I highly recommend it. I think they're one of the big bands to watch in the new prog scene, and always excited to talk about them and to hype them up. So check that record out if you're a fan of any kind of contemporary prog rock. Like, this is just a really excellent record that I think you'll enjoy. Deep Purple are in the news. They shared a new single called Arrogant Boy from their upcoming album Splat. Their new album is coming out July 3rd on Ear Music. Arrogant Boy is a surprisingly fun track. I really enjoyed it. That has some light kind of proggy elements in the middle of the track, but just a really cool hard rockin' track that you might expect from Deep Purple. I hear that this is going to be a little bit of a heavier album for them in comparison to recent records, which is really cool. Ian Gillan is still rocking it as the frontman, even though he's, I believe, like 80 or so years old. So really cool that these guys are still rocking, still doing some incredible music. Maybe prog adjacent, maybe more in the like hard rock, classic rock kind of style. But I think a lot of prog fans really like Deep Purple, so I wanted to mention their new album, which is available to pre-order and all of that as well. Should be a fun record. They've been doing some great late career stuff, so I wanted to mention that. One of my favorite artists, maybe a bit more obscure, but one of my beloved favorites, Phideaux, is releasing an album, AutoMoto Animus, coming out in July. So I'm really excited about this new release. I've heard some people on the channel like, oh, can you please let me know when there's any news about Phideaux and his upcoming records and stuff. So I wanted to put this in my prog headlines list. He's such a unique, cool artist, just art rock and prog, and has influences from the likes of Jethro Tull, David Bowie, Pink Floyd, early Genesis, Vandergraaf Generator. It's very unique and cool, and he has a very unique style to him that is very identifiable to him. This new album, AutoMoto Animus, maybe is a slight departure from his previous, like, more proggy records. I've been privileged to be able to hear an early copy, and I think it's really brilliant. I'm going to be talking about it and doing a full review, certainly. But it has a bit of that kind of power pop side to it, but there's definitely some cool psychedelia and proggy textures all throughout the record. It ends on a lengthier, like 15-minute track as well. But I love Phideaux's catalog. If you haven't heard of him yet, his run from Doomsday Afternoon, following there from Number 7, and Snow Torch, and then Infernal. Those are all excellent records that are some of the top tier prog that I've heard, in the newer era. So definitely check him out. Be excited for the new record coming out. I believe it's July 6th is when the new record comes out. So that should be a hotly anticipated record. It's available for pre-order as well. I pre-ordered mine on the Bandwagon USA website. Really excited for that to come in and for me to get to hear the physical record. King Crimson announced a new 2014 New York live album that's going to be released July 10th on DGM Panegyric. This new release is from the band's 4-night run in New York City in September 2014 on their first tour for 6 years, and one which introduced the now famous 3-drummer lineup featuring Gavin Harrison and Pat Mastelotto, and Bill Rieflin. So a really cool live album to check out if you're a fan. That one's available for pre-order. And should be a cool representation of that period of King Crimson. Also, a few extra singles to talk about here. Exploring Birdsong have a new single called Spy in the House of Life from their upcoming album, Every House We Built, which is coming June 26th. Progressive pop. female vocals, excellent sounding production, and just I've liked every single that they've come out with, so I'll be talking about that heavily on the channel. Not overtly like, proggy like what I usually talk about, but just really well done, well crafted music that I absolutely love. Port Noir, that I mentioned, their new release came out today. They have a video out for My Destroyer from their new album. This is a Swedish alternative rock group with some heavy sounds on their new record. So if you are interested in them, they have a track. Also, Terra Maze have a track called Enemy in the Garden from their recent album, The Silent Architect, which was released May 8th. So you can check out that in my prog singles list. Like I mentioned, Australian prog metal, just very classic, just pure sounding prog metal, just really good. And Earthside has a new track as well. Earthside is a U.S. prog metal quartet. They have a new single called A Dying Star, which is the first music from the band since their second album, 2023's Let the Truth Speak Out. So hopefully there's more on the horizon from Earthside, following up from the single. But they have a very dense sound with just really great sonic quality, and I really like what they do. They have this kind of cinematic approach to what they do, certainly. So there you have it. Those are the singles that I have. That Advent Horizon opening track and Alone in a Dreary World, you have to check that out. Deep Purple's Arrogant Boy, exploring Birdsong, Spy in the House of Love, Earthside's A Dying Star, Port Noir, My Destroyer, and Terra Maze, Enemy in the Garden. As always, the prog singles list is in the description. It's a YouTube playlist that you can check out and listen to these songs on. So I think that's a cool, convenient way. You can also search these tracks in your streaming app or of choice, or Bandcamp, or whatever you use to listen to music, to check out some great new music that's coming out. So as for the channel itself, like I mentioned, I did a review of the Advent Horizon record, which was really fun to put together. I love the band and urge you to check it out. Check out my review. Check out the album itself. It's definitely one worth listening to. I'm doing a couple mini reviews this week for the Lemon Twigs and Crown Lands. Loving their recent records, so I want to talk briefly about them. I don't know if I have a huge amount of things to say. I just want to weigh in on my brief thoughts on these records and how brilliant they are. I'm also planning to do the final episode of my Big Six series that I've been doing. I did the Big Six classic prog bands, the Big Six third wave new era prog bands, and now I'm going to do the top six like current prog bands in the current scene that are still active today. So I think that'll be a great way to round out that series. It's my personal favorites. It's not really the objective truth of these are objectively the big six. I'm kind of putting a little bit of a personal twist on it. Also, I want to announce that in July, I'm planning to start a series of counting down my top 40 favorite albums of all time, favorite prog albums of all time. And basically, I've been thinking about doing this to kind of celebrate. I turned 40 last year, so it's been a long time in the making. But I thought to celebrate being 40 years old, talking about my 40 favorite albums without any caveats, without any like, only one album per artist, only this many albums from this style. There's no restrictions, just my top 40 full stop. So you're going to hear a lot of repeat artists. A lot of the artists that I talk about all the time are going to have several albums in the top 40, but I just thought it would be fun for me. It'll probably be divided up into like 4 episodes, 10 each, going from like 40 to 31 and then 30 to 20, to 21 and all that kind of stuff till we reach the top 10. So should be a fun series of episodes. I did something similar last year around the summertime where I counted down the best prog albums of all time according to this Prog Archives list plus my own impressions. So check out that series from last year if you want to. But so the idea is to kind of do something similar for this summer, maybe like kind of a yearly summer tradition to count down a list of albums that have some kind of common thread. So that's the plan for this year, is just my full stop top 40 favorite albums of all time. So thank you guys for joining me on this episode. Hopefully you enjoyed my ramblings about the new stuff that's coming out and all the excitement that's happening in the prog world. There's a lot of cool records coming out in May and beyond. and I'll be talking about them, doing my roundups, and trying to cover as much music as I possibly can with a somewhat busy schedule. So thank you guys. Hopefully you enjoy this episode. Let me know in the comments anything I missed from the news updates this time around, and I'll catch you guys in a future episode. Bye everybody. Enjoy the music.